Hi everyone, can you hear me okay? Hi. Let me do a quick sound check. Can you all hear me okay? Hello? Everybody hear me okay? Good. Excellent. Excellent. Welcome to our webinar tonight. Oh, what a great group we have here. Hello to all of you. We're going to be talking tonight about a very, very helpful topic, something that you all need to know about, and that is test anxiety. You can know all of the information and get to the testing center, and if you have test anxiety, then you forget everything that you know. So we're going to go through some different things tonight to help you with that test anxiety. And just before I started the webinar, I got a text message from a student I've been tutoring who has test anxiety. They passed the exam today. Excellent. So anyway, very, very pleased to hear that. All right, well, this is a picture of Grace here on the first slide. Grace has anxiety. She's our standard poodle. And hers comes in the form of anytime there's thunder. And that's about how she looks whenever there is any kind of thunder. So we get test anxiety, we get anxiety from thunder, all kinds of different things. But today we're going to be focusing on the test anxiety. All right. So have you ever forgotten everything you know when you take a test? You're well prepared, and now you remember nothing? Does this apply to any of you? Any of you have this kind of thing happen on a regular basis, or when you go to take a test? Does that apply to something that's happened to you before? Yeah, oh, I'm seeing lots of yeses. Yes, yes, look at all these yes. Yes, I freeze. Yes, I know what you mean. Pardon me, we forget to breathe. We're like, wait a minute, I think this sounds familiar, but I have no idea what the answer is. Look at all these yeses. Oh, there's a never. Nicholas says never. Yeah. Maritza says she panics. Yeah. You become a blank slate. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, absolutely. So if you become a blank slate, then it doesn't matter how hard you prepared or how much you studied for the exam, you're not going to remember any of that. So lots of people with anxiety, that's for sure. And you are not alone. So I want to give you some examples. So just to tell you a little bit about myself, you know, I'm new to prep agent, and I have been teaching real estate classes since 2003, so a very, very long time. The last school where I taught in a live classroom, and I can tell you in 7.5 years there, I taught nearly 12,000 students. Half of them had test anxiety. It is such a very real thing. So I want to tell you some stories about those different students. So I had this one gentleman in class, and he was extremely smart. So very smart. He paid attention all the way through class. He didn't miss anything that I said. His IQ was extremely high. And when it became test time, I thought I was going to have to call 911. He broke out in a sweat. His heart was racing. He couldn't concentrate on anything on the test. And I found that if I put him in a room by himself to take the test, and we turned the lights down just a little bit and got the room pretty cold, he had to have it real cold in there, and he had to have air circulating in the room. So the lighting and the temperature, very important to him. And he was the highest scorer in the test when we did all of those things. So we figured out how to work with his test anxiety. And that is exactly what you have to do, is kind of figure out how you have to work with your test anxiety. What are we calling Cynthia's team? I don't know. Y'all come up with something for me, something creative. Y'all could come up with that for me. Student number 2. Oh boy, this student turned her test in. I turned around to grade it, and I turned back around, and I'm going to tell you that she had turned kind of a gray color, and she was about to hit the floor. She just nearly fainted. She had so much test anxiety. Student number 3. She came to me for tutoring. She had not been in any of my classes. She came to me for a tutoring session, and she had failed the test 8 times. Oh, I love it, the syndicates. Oh, that's it right there. The syndicates spelled like Cynthia. Okay, Arthur, that's my new name, the syndicates. That's my team name. I love it. So she had come to get some tutoring because she didn't want to fail the test again. She had not been in my class, so I wanted to kind of get an idea of where she was with everything, how much knowledge that she had. When I would ask her a question, she not only told me the answer, but she could tell me what page number it was on and what book it was in. She had a photographic memory. So I was like, I think we have a real disconnect going on here. You know all this information, but you've taken the test this many times. So we realized that it wasn't her knowledge she needed to work on. She needed to work on how to overcome that test anxiety. So the night before she took the test for the 9th time, she called me. And she said, Cindy, she said, what do you want me to study tonight? I said, I don't. I said, you're prepared. I said, you need to go out to dinner with your husband. Of course, this is pre-COVID when we did get to go out to eat. I said, go out and have a nice evening and just relax. The next morning she called me and she said, listen, she said, I'm getting a facial. I'm trying to follow exactly what you have told me to do. I said, wonderful. I said, you're going to be all relaxed when you go and take the test. And I said, you're going to pass it. You're going to be calling me this afternoon to tell me your good news. Sure enough, about 3 o'clock that afternoon, she called me and she had passed that test. Not only passed it, but I think it took her an hour to take it. Oh, hang on. Edwin. Oh, Edwin, you got this. Yeah, you got this. No problem at all. You'll be sending me a message to tell me you passed the test as well when you take it on August the 4th. Can you believe August is like nearly here? This month went by so very quickly. What I want you to know is that you are not alone if you have test anxiety. As I was telling you before, I would say a good 50% of the people that I have taught in the actual classroom have test anxiety. When I tutor students, I would say it's more like 95 to 98% who have test anxiety and suffer with it in some form or fashion. So again, no matter how hard you study, no matter how much you know the material, if you have test anxiety and it sets in, you're not going to remember anything at all. Oh, Chels, don't be scared. You got this. You're going to do fantastic. All right, let's move on to the next slide. I want to talk to you about that testing center so you're prepared. Some of you will be Pearson VUE, some of you will be a different testing center, so it can vary per what state that you are in. But it's a very sterile environment overall, and I want you to be ready for that, because if you know this in advance, it's not going to cause you as much of a problem because you know what to expect. So you need to know this information in advance. I want to give you some examples from some past students who got to the testing center. They already had test anxiety, and then these things happen, and they are really forgetting everything that they know. So I had one student, and so she wore a jacket with a hood on it. And typically the testing center is cold. Now that I've told you that, watch it not be cold that day. But for the most part, it's usually cold in there. Well, someone along the way has cheated wearing a jacket with a hood. So they took her jacket from her. And she's like, why are you taking my jacket? And they're like, ma'am, you cannot take your test wearing a jacket with a hood. So she was freezing the whole time. She was upset they had her jacket. She missed that test by one question. One question. Otherwise, she would have passed that exam. I had another student. She went to the testing center to take her test, and she had her hair back in a ponytail. They told her to take her ponytail holder off and to hand it to them so they could look at it. I don't know how somebody would cheat with a ponytail holder, but apparently somebody did. And then they told her to shake her hair out. So she didn't pass the test because she wasn't expecting these kind of things to be happening. Therese says it was cold in there. She says she's not wearing flip-flops next time. I don't blame you. Yeah, I don't blame you at all. Yeah, because it usually is very cold in there. I had another student. He went to take the exam, and they told him, they said, you need to take your glasses off. You need to let us look at your glasses and make sure there's nothing on them that you could cheat from. So I want you to be prepared. Hopefully it will be a good day at the testing center, and you won't have anything like that happen. But just in case, you'll be ready for it. It won't blindside you. You'll know that certainly could occur. Also, don't wear your jewelry. A lot of times they'll have you take your jewelry off and they'll put it in a locker. So I probably don't want to wear your jewelry. So anyway, so that's a little bit about that testing center. Another thing that I want to talk to you about is sometimes people have what I call an exceptional learning style. I don't like the word disability, learning disability. I don't like words like that, because what I find is that some people just learn differently. Some of my smartest students have a different kind of learning style. It's just different than the way they wrote that test, but they're still extremely, extremely bright. They just learn a little bit differently. If you have any kind of documentation showing that you need any special accommodations, then be sure and take that and call the testing center ahead of time. Go ahead and send that to them, and they have to honor that. That's the law. They have to honor it. Where did I teach? Oh, I am in the big state, the big hot state today of Texas. So I've taught at numerous real estate schools, so quite a few for the last 17 years. I had one student in class I want to tell you about. I'm just going to call her Mary because I'm changing her name so I can keep that part confidential. So Mary was really enjoying coming to class. She was in her mid-50s, and she came into my classroom and she said, I just want you to know that I'm stupid. I said, oh, we don't talk that way in my classroom. I said, you are not stupid. No one in here is stupid. We all learn differently. And so she did really well in class, and she would come up to me at the end of class and she would make her notes, and we would spend time going over them and explaining things to her in detail to where she could understand it. And she was just absorbing every single thing that I was teaching her. And she decided to go and get tested. It turned out she had dyslexia. She was in her mid-50s. She never knew that she had dyslexia. I'm going to tell you, when she learned that and she learned about her exceptional learning style, there's been no stopping her. She is a top producer. She is doing absolutely fantastic. So if you have an exceptional learning style of some sort, then you need to make sure that the testing center does have documentation on that. Layla says, I have the worst test anxiety. Oh, you're in Texas. Awesome. You're so scared and you feel like you're not studying the right material. Well, if any of you are feeling like that, we do offer live tutoring. So you just go ahead and sign up. I could help you on the national and the Texas part. No problem at all. Hi from, Andrea's from Texas. Well, look at all these Texans here today. Lots of Texans today. Yeah, y'all are such great students. We want to be mentally ready to take the exam, and I've got some ideas to help you with test anxiety. And again, this is going to be different for each person. I told you about the one lady who went and got a facial, and of course we're dealing with COVID right now, so we're pretty limited in what we can go do. But you might want to arrive at the testing center early and maybe sit in your car, get there a little bit early so you're not like in a hurry. Maybe you want to have some calming music that you're listening to. Hello, Mississippi, El Paso, Texas, Ida. Yeah. So you want to arrive at that testing center a little bit early. Listen to that calming music. Maybe you want to call a friend. That always is relaxing to me if I call a friend and visit with a friend. You can even call me. If you need a prep talk and I'm not in the middle of tutoring a student or whatever, you can give me a call. I will talk to you and give you a prep talk. Not a problem at all. JR says, I understand I cannot bring my iPhone. Oh, okay, JR, they're going to provide you with a calculator. Yeah, they won't let you bring one in. They're going to provide you with one. Oh, hottest spot in the world is South Carolina. Oh, I don't know. It's pretty hot here. I don't know how it could get any hotter than in Texas. That's for sure. Oh, Irene says she listened to gospel and passed her class exam. Now she needs to pass the state. Irene, did that help you to listen to some music ahead of time? Yeah, I'm sure it probably did. Benjamin, thank you for posting that. Failing tests many times doesn't mean you're going to be a bad agent. We all got this. We see no correlation in how many times you take that licensing exam and how well you're going to do in real estate. No correlation at all. Some people are better test takers than others. We just see absolutely no correlation in that. Oh, reading and understanding the question is a big deal. What I recommend to you is on that part. Let me just give you this little piece of advice right here. I always say that you have to organize your studying. When I'm tutoring the students, I tell them to put a bunch of little suitcases in their brain. So you're going to read that question through and categorize it. What topic does it come under? Is it an agency question? Is it a contracts question? What category does it go in? If it's an agency question, you're going to open up your agency suitcase in your brain and you're going to remember all the things that you've learned about agency. You will be amazed if you organize it like that when you're taking the test, how much that will help you. It will help you tremendously. Renee, you got this. Yeah, you're going to not have a problem passing that test, and you are going to be a top agent, absolutely, no doubt about it. I agree with you about prep agent. I found prep agent because I had been sending my students to prep agent because I was so impressed with the program, and I'm going to tell you, it is the best out there, no doubt about it. Oh, Martha, no, don't be afraid. No, you got this. No, we'll help you. Not a problem at all. Not a problem. Not a problem. Do you have any other questions about this, putting it in like a suitcase? Does that make sense to you? Like you're just organizing your thought process. You're organizing the information so that you can recall it easier. Oh, Irene, I am so glad. I agree. It's very helpful, very repetitive. That really, really helps. Did we lost the audio? Can y'all hear me? That's interesting. I'm not having anything on mine show that. Can you hear me okay? Okay, good. Excellent. Excellent. I don't know what happened. Everything was looking fine from my end. Good. Good deal. Probably some little something in the computer system. I'm glad it is back on now. Good deal. No. You're going to get this done. You and Martha both. Not a problem. Okay, good, Ian. I'm glad you can hear me now. Excellent. Excellent. Okay, so again, we're going to listen to some calming music. Call a friend before the exam. I don't know if any of you ever have a positive self-talk with yourself, but sometimes I have to do that. I remember when I first got my real estate license 20 some odd years ago, and I was terrified to do a listing. I would go to that listing appointment and I would be shaking all over. So I learned that I had to get there early, and I would sit in the car and I would pull the visor down and I'd look in the mirror and I would give myself a positive self-talk. And that really helped. I went into what I called acting mode so that when I got out of the car, I knew that I had to be on. If I came across as not confident or whatever, I knew that I would not get that listing. And that was what my objective for that day was to get that listing and to be there. Okay, good. You can all hear me now. Sorry about that. I don't know what it was. My computer, everything looked fine, so I don't know why it kind of went out for a minute. Another thing you can do is to make sure that you have prepared in advance for that exam, and you're already doing that. You're doing your prep agent, you're studying, so you're already preparing. So when you get to that testing center, you have the assurance that you are ready. You are confident that you are ready to take this exam. Another one, I don't know about you, but like if I get anxious about something or scared, I quit kind of breathing. So that can really be, I'm like, oh, I'm not breathing. Last week when I was doing the webinar for the first time, because remember, I've been in the live classroom. So I realized I was having technical difficulties, and I realized that I had totally quit breathing. So that can certainly happen. And when you quit breathing, you forget everything. So I'm like, okay, deep breaths, deep breaths. So remember to take some deep breaths. Yes, Jacqueline, you are so right. Flashcards work very, very well. On Prep Agent, they have some flashcards for you. I also recommend you can write some out on your own. And also, if you want to maybe record, and I think there's a recording on there on Prep Agent as well, but you could do that for yourself too and listen to those definitions. Maybe you're cooking dinner, so you turn on your vocabulary words and listen to them while you're cooking or whatever. Quizlet's a good tool. Okay, be careful on Quizlet. We don't know who put the information out there. That's as good as whoever the student was that put the information, and I've seen some that's not accurate, so just be careful with it. Let's see. Oh, good. Brandon makes flashcards at every webinar. Good job. Excellent. Yeah, very good. Very good. You get a headache after the test? Yeah. All that adrenaline. You're probably exhausted too after you take that test. Yeah, lots of people doing flashcards. When do you stop studying before your exam? Well, I want you to be prepared in advance. So, Joe put out yesterday some really great tips for you as far as right before the test about, eating some good food, getting some good rest, all of that. So be sure and take a look at those as well because they'll help you be successful on the exam. Joe has amazing videos, I agree. Yeah, no association with Quizlet at all. No. And again, I caution you on Quizlet to remember that that's as good as those students who put out those who put the questions and answers on Quizlet. We don't know who they are. Yeah. Oh, the mask. Yeah, that's right. You're going to have to wear a mask when you're taking the exam, so that can be uncomfortable. Good. I'm glad you can hear me, Jane. Thanks for letting me know. Kayla, are you testing it on August 25th? Good deal. Yeah, okay. Myra, I agree. It can, when you first read it, it can go into a bunch of words, so it's really good. Read it through. Choose that suitcase that topic came from in your brain. Open it up. Think about all the things that you know about that topic, and then read it again, and you'll do fine. Yeah, you'll do just fine. Hi, Justine. Good to see you. Where was Joe's test prep info yesterday? Webinar or Facebook? I saw it on Facebook. Will they check your mask? Oh, good question. I don't know if they'll check your mask or not. That's a great question. And I don't know if they'll give you a mask or you're supposed to bring your own, so you probably should contact the testing center just to find out for sure. Yeah. Studying on the computer helps Jacqueline. Yeah. What is my opinion on doing NHS for a contractor, splitting a commission between it? I'm going to talk to you here in just a second about anxiety when choosing a broker. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Angela's testing on August the 8th. A lot of you are about to test. Yeah. Okay. Taylor says she's nervous. Yeah, everything is on Prep Agent's dashboard. They do a fantastic job of organizing everything. Yeah. Oh, don't worry about the math. You'll be fine. You'll be just fine. You say, oh yeah, okay, you second guess yourself, then you change your answers. They always say go with your first answer, but that's always the best thing to do, is to go with your first answer. Okay, so I've given you some tips when you get to the testing center of some things to do. For me, when I feel anxious, I am a huge dog lover, so I just hold one of my 3 canine daughters. That takes all my stress away right there. My husband, he makes amazing origami. So when he's stressed out, he sits there and makes origami, and I'm always doing something and needing him to make me something. So I was hosting a luncheon for a friend who was getting married, and I decided that I had to have these origami dresses for centerpieces. So he made all of these for me, and they turned out super cute. I can't even put a box together, so I don't know how he does all that. But anyway, that helps him relax. We're all different. We all have something different that makes us relax, that's for sure, and gets us in that relaxed state where we're not going to forget that information when we go to take that test. And my son, let's see. My son relaxes by making something on his 3D printer, and I'm not sure the slide is coming through now. I'm getting a delay on the slide. There's the origami. That's what my husband does. And hang on just 1 second. The next slide will be there here in just 1 second for you, showing my son. He relaxes by making something on his 3D printer. Anahid says, yeah, the dog helps with the anxiety. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Angela as well. Yeah. Lots of you have dogs, it looks like. Yeah. Yes, my husband is incredible with those. And for some reason, we're not moving to the next slide. There it goes. So this is something my son made on his, well, it just went backwards again, on his 3D printer. So that relaxes him. So you all probably have something that you do that is going to relax you and put you in that frame of mind where you can go and take this test and not be so anxious. Oh, thanks. I'll tell him you said that. That will mean a lot to him. He keeps telling me, oh, anybody could do origami. I'm like, no, not anybody can do origami. You have a puggle? Oh my gosh, Laura. Oh, I wish you could send me a picture at Cynthia@prepagent.com. I've got to see this puggle. I've never seen a puggle before. Can we do some math on a webinar? Yes, I think they have one scheduled this week. So I think there will be one on math. Carol has a cat. Yeah, cats can also help relieve that anxiety. Taking a walk before the test, that's a great thing, Jessica. I agree. Thank you, Julie. Yes, this is one of my favorite. Don't let anybody steal your shine. Remember, you've got this. And that's what I want you to remember when you go to take that exam. You've got this. You've done your work. You're prepared. You know in advance if you have test anxiety. We've talked about some things that you can do so that you can control that test anxiety. Patricia says she doesn't like cats or dogs. Someone needs to. Oh, she likes to drive and look at scenery. I love to do that too. There is nothing more relaxing than taking a drive in the car. In Dallas, it's like a COVID hotspot, so that's about the only getting out that we do is taking a drive in the car. Oh, please send me your puppies. I love dogs. Please send me pictures of your puppies. A flatsman named Glory. Oh. Paper airplanes. Kevin makes paper airlines. Sure. That's very similar to origami. Very much so. Arthur says tomorrow evening is the math webinar. You were asking about that. Adrian's doing the is maybe Adrian doing the math webinar? Jacqueline says Adrian rocks at math. Well, thank you, Jessica. She says my voice is calming. I probably have a very much a Texas drawl. You would never believe I was born in Australia to Texan parents, native Texans. So my mom, we lived all over the world, but my mother never got rid of her Texas drawl, no matter what country we lived in. So she was always quite popular. Everyone wanted to talk to her. All right. Don't forget that we do have tutoring that we do on a regular basis. So if you are struggling, I do tutoring, students tutoring. We are happy to help you with that. You just sign up on Prep Agent. And I want to talk to you a little bit more on another thing that is probably causing you some anxiety, and that is finding a broker. I'm in big old Dallas, Texas. So as far as finding a broker, this can make or break your career. And I want to tell you a little bit about how I started out in real estate, and I was a total flop. I don't want that story to be yours. I had been a paralegal. We had 2 little boys, and they were sick all the time because they were in daycare. Constantly, I was having to call that attorney and tell him, I'm sorry, but I can't come to work again. I have another sick child. And I decided that never again would I apologize for taking care of my children. They came first, and I was not ever going to say, I'm sorry for taking care of my kids to anybody again. So I thought I will find a job where I have the flexibility so that I can take care of my kids and I can have a rewarding career as well. Oh, thank you, Julie. So I decided to get my real estate license. I passed my test the first time, and I thought I was something. I thought I was so smart. I didn't know anything about anything. At the law firm, people call in. You don't have to go out and look for your clients and do marketing and all that kind of thing. I didn't know in real estate you had to do that. So I went to work at a brokerage. I went to this business supply store first and got all of the new things that you get for your desk when you start a new job, and there I sat. Good thing my desk looked good because there wasn't any business for me to do. Nobody trained me. Nobody helped me. I desperately wanted to learn. Nobody helped me. Finally, a new investor came along, and they decided they would let me work with him. He was not a good investor. I'm sure they wouldn't have chosen me otherwise. And I still remember where I was when I got the phone call from that investor. I was having dinner with my family at a restaurant. I thought I was so important. Do any of you remember the great big cell phones that we used to carry a long time ago? Some of you are like, what? I have no idea what you're talking about. But when cell phones first came out, they were huge. And I told my family, I said, I have a business call. I have to go and take it. So I stepped outside, and I thought I was so important. I didn't have a clue what I was talking about or anything else. So I agreed to go show this investor some houses the next day. No one at that brokerage told me anything about safety, and they didn't tell me anything about any documentation I needed to get signed. Nothing. First of all, we want you to be safe in this industry. Please, please be safe. Take every safety precaution. Know who you're going to show properties for. Also, national associations that you can read through to keep you safe, because we want you to be safe in this industry. Nobody told me about any of that. The first house I showed in my real estate career was to this investor, and there were people stealing the copper piping out of the backyard. That was my first experience to show a house. The next house we went to look at didn't have a front door on it. And so I was getting really nervous because the investor just did not seem quite right. He was making me very uncomfortable, and I had put him in my vehicle. And I told him, I said, you don't need my key card to get in that house. You go on in that house. I'll be in there shortly. I got him out of my vehicle. I called my husband. I called my office. I said, this is where I am. If I don't come back, I'll send somebody to look for me. Okay, so that brokerage failed me. They didn't train me. They didn't teach me about safety. I wanted to learn. They set me up for failure. Passing your licensing exam, we've taken your level of learning to a certain level, And then we're turning it over to that broker to take you to that next level of learning. It's on the job training a whole lot. Lost you again with that. Hang on. Just 1 second. Let me refresh it again. Did that get the volume back? Okay, great. Can you hear me okay? Good. Yay. Okay. So then I went to another broker and I didn't get any training there either. And then I went to a broker, and remember, I'm not going to tell you a story unless you've got something you can learn from it. The broker owns all those buyers, they own all those sellers. If you were to leave a brokerage, your broker has the right to keep your listings and to keep your buyers. And that's exactly what this broker had done. And she told me, she said, I have 2 listings that another agent had that I kept. And if you would like those, I will give those to you. I said, well, of course I want them. I learned real estate from those 2 listings, and I learned them from that broker. I followed her around every day. I called her 20 times a day. I learned from her, and I wouldn't be sitting here before you tonight if it had not been for that broker. So I wish for each of you a broker like that. I want you to have a great broker. And I don't know where the sound cut off, but I was telling you my story about the investor and reminding you that you have to be with a broker that is going to train you, that is going to teach you, that's going to make sure that you're safe, that's going to instruct you on all of those kind of things, because my first experience certainly was not that. What I want you to look for with those brokers is correct training and availability to help you. And somebody just said something about a mentor. A mentor can be very helpful, but remember, more than likely you're paying for that mentor. So I want you to ask the questions. How long has that mentor been in business? I want you to make sure that's an experienced mentor, that it's not somebody who got their license last week and now they're calling themselves a mentor. You make sure that you're working with the best of the best so that you can learn everything so that you can be successful. I need that broker to be available to you, or to have somebody who's available. Real estate's not an 8 to 5 business. A lot of times we're working late at night, we're working early in the morning. If you had to write your first offer and you've never done that before and it's 10 o'clock at night, who's going to help you with that? So I want you to be asking that question of the broker: who is going to help make sure that I know what I'm doing so that I am successful in this business? Ask that broker if you can sit in on their training before you choose a broker. You'll be able to tell a lot by what kind of training they're doing. Make sure that their training is correct. And that's going to be something difficult for you because you're not going to know at the very beginning if it's correct or not. Read through the policies and procedures manual before you join that brokerage. That's real important for you to do. You're going to be an independent contractor for the most part. There are a few employer-employee business models that are out there now, but the most part you'll be an independent contractor. So read that agreement through very thoroughly. See what it says about their CRM, their customer relationship management. If you were to leave that brokerage, does that mean that they get to keep your whole entire database, or do you get to take it with you? Those are questions that you need to be asking. Maybe you want to go ahead, even you're at another broker, but maybe you want to have your own CRM program as well, so that way you wouldn't have to input it all if you were to change brokers. So your broker that you choose, again, I'm looking for training, I'm looking for availability to help you so that you can be a success story, that you won't have a situation like I had at the very beginning where I got off to that slow start because nobody was training me. What questions do you have on that? Is there anything that I can answer about you choosing your broker? We cannot recommend a broker for you, but I can give you some ideas on what you need to be looking for. Gio says, I spoke with a broker. He said what we learned in the test. Well, you actually will use like a lot of what you learn. Agency contracts, you're going to use a lot of that in the field. You're absolutely right. Stick with prep agent and you will pass. Outrageous fees. That varies from broker to broker. So interview at least 3. Make yourself a spreadsheet. See what they're offering with those fees. How do you know the broker is a good fit? Well, you want to interview, like I said, a minimum of 3. You've got to go and spend some time there. If you can spend a whole day. How much training from broker? I hope you get a whole lot of training. It's ongoing training, Laura. They should always be there to help you. Okay, small or large, there are good and bad in them all. You just have to figure out what is the right fit for you. Oh, good, Martha. That's excellent. Oh, your husband's just waiting for you to become licensed. It sounds like he's already busy. Perfect. A CRM is a customer relationship management, is what that stands for. And that is where you're going to input your sphere of influence. So you can go ahead and put your database together for that. All the people that you know. Some people like to pay for lead generation. That's up to you if you do that. But I will tell you, your best leads come from your own sphere of influence, the people that you know. I told you I got my real estate license so that I could have the flexibility to take my kids to and from school and to be there for all of their events. I did not know they would bring me all of my business. So all of their teachers bought houses for me, the parents of their friends. My kids are graduated from high school and college now, but one of their high school teachers just bought a house for me a couple of years ago. So I'm still getting business from them. So it's your everyday life that brings in your future clients. He's also, oh, that's good, Martha. It sounds like you're getting really good training. Online brokers, you just have to figure, is that the right fit for you? There's some good online brokers. You just have to see, is that the one for you? Yes, Jennifer and Ephraim, I am in Texas. I have lots of tips for you for the Texas test. Yes, if you will sign up for the tutoring, we can focus on your Texas part. You only have 30 questions on it, so you can't miss much. Oh, Melissa, you're so welcome. And Elise and Jacqueline, repeat business. Do a good job for your clients, and I promise you, you will get repeat business. Have that high level of integrity and ethics all the time, and you are always going to do fantastic. Oh, I love new home sales. Those houses come with a warranty. Typically, for the most part, contractor splitting a commission, that can kind of vary. There's track builders, there's custom builders, so that can just vary. Now, online virtual brokers, that's certainly where a lot of it's going. Again, you just have to see if that's a good fit for you. Make sure that there's training involved, and they do have a lot of online training now that's outstanding. You have 6 kids, or no, you're ready to go? Well, you should get lots of business if you have 6 kids. I just had 2, and I was busy all the time once I got started in real estate and got with that brokerage that trained me. Oh, Velvet, you're a credit consultant. You already know a ton of people. You already have a ready-made database. Oh, Jacqueline, please let me know how everything goes tomorrow. What time did you test? All right, Clark, see you later. Good. Lotus loves the CRM. Good tool. Jacqueline, you got this for sure. Everybody's wishing you well. That's what I love about Prep Agent. You all cheer each other on. That's so awesome. All right, well, I am going to say good night to you for tonight, and it was an absolute honor to get to speak to you. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of the week. Don't forget that I do tutoring. If you have a question, you can always email me, Cynthia@prepagent.com. And I would just count it, like I said, an absolute honor to help you anyway. You all are going to do fantastic. So those of you testing in the next few days, Good luck to you. Remember to follow all of the ideas that I gave you if you're having any kind of test anxiety. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.